everybody, welcome back to the Malbeefance channel. This is episode 13 of our series replay for Strategic Command American Civil War. So everybody that's been following along, you know things have been heating up in Northern Virginia and over here in Kentucky. For those of you that are new to the channel, I'm sure you'll pick up pretty quickly on what's going on. So let's go ahead and advance the turn, see what we get. So the destruction of Fort Donelson reduces Confederate fighting spirit. Hopefully I won't lose all of those gunboats. They're in a bad shape and they're stuck there. Alright, Secretary of War Edwin Stanton wants to know if I want to initiate a draft. Looking at our fighting spirit and the amount of fighting spirit we're going to lose and the possibility of it causing riots, no, I do not. Alright, so the bushwhackers are active in Missouri as usual. Nothing I can do about that, I just gotta bear with it, and now they're over in Kentucky. Alright, Union develops infantry tactics, level 2. Improves our combat abilities, and there is our ledger for next turn. Word escaped me for a moment. Alright, so the computer is calculating supply for next turn. And what are we doing? It's planning, thinking. Alright, so now we're moving some stuff around. So now we've seen 5 infantry corps in Northern Virginia, and we know there's at least 2 cavalry, or excuse me, infantry divisions. And then we know there's at least 2 cavalry divisions up there. So, okay, so they're trying to re-establish the convoy lane to Nolens. And fighting at Pea Ridge, and now fighting at outside of Warrenton. And well, there goes one of the gunboats. Kind of figured that was going to happen. A siege of Fort Gibson there. And the continuing siege of Fort Thorne. Holding on to those 2 hexes. I'm really surprised. So these 2 units here around Carthage and Joplin, they really should have retreated when they had the chance. Alright, so the computer is reinforcing some units. Not as much fighting in Northern Virginia as I had anticipated. And there's some probing into Western Virginia. Hopefully sometime soon I'm able to get the 2 mountain divisions out of Northern Virginia and get them over to General McClellan's army of the Ohio, and he can start pushing south. It's also a supply issue. Extending the supply lines down those 2 roads is kind of difficult. So yeah, so now these 2 brigades are suffering losses due to no supply. And there is our blockade information. Calculating supplies for the upcoming turn. And there is our activity summary. General Lee spotted near Culpeper. Oop, accidentally missed that one. Brigade spotted off of Port Hudson. What else? Okay, so now our reinforcements. Couple of gunboats and a frigate. Alright, so since they've got us on this side of the map, let's go ahead and start with naval operations. I'll have these 2 frigates go down to Key West and help out down there. Can't move the fresh reinforcements yet. See if the monitor can help out here. Nope. Get the Farragut Marines off of the boat. Get 2nd Marines to start heading towards Plymouth. I'm hoping that I can get the 2nd Marines to occupy Plymouth and Washington here and threaten New Bern, and that way the computer will make some kind of response to this movement, siphon off forces from other locations. All right, let me zoom the map out and make it a little easier for me here. Get the rest of these gunboats down to help out with blockading Wilmington. Let's see if we can do some damage to this fort. Oh, yes, yes. Can we knock it in? Nope. Ouch. It's worth it. Yes, awesome. All right, so the fort at Beaufort, we managed to take it out. Awesome. All right, so there's a victory. All right, now the guys down here off the southern Atlantic coast. Alright, so we'll bring Wabash back for resupply, since we have the opportunity. And Powhatan has got to pull into Fort Jackson for resupply. So that brings us over to the Mississippi. Let's see if we can take out this timberclad. Oh no, he didn't do any damage at all. Ah, I'm not getting any hits there. Alright, repair him. Wonder if the lousy weather has something to do with it. Take one more shot at this. Oh, did a little bit of damage. Alright. Not great, but not bad either. We did some damage. Alright, Water Witch needs to pull in for resupply. And that will take care of naval operations for the turn. So let's head on all the way out here to the Far West Theater. And it is raining. It is raining. That's going to affect operations. Hopefully the California column will show up here at the end of this turn, beginning of next turn. I can start pushing these guys back towards El Paso. And I'm really surprised I've held on to Fort Thorne as long as I have. Alright, so we got a good defensive line going on there. I don't have to worry about them trying to outflank me here. They've got the same supply problems that I do. Alright, so moving over to the Western Theater. Nothing going on down here at Fort Washita. Let's go ahead and swap out Riley's Rangers for the regiment. Make it a little more difficult for them at Fort Gibson. He can only I'll pull him back. I really don't want to give up that beautiful defensive position, but I might not have a choice. Alright, so let's see about these two units here. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Okay, well that works. Alright, as I mentioned in the previous episode, those two units, they either retreated or they were doomed. Alright, so now if you've been following along, there's been a lot of units that the computer has thrown, smaller units, regiment-sized, brigade-sized, that the computer's been using to fight its way into Missouri. Um, but we gotten lucky all the way over here on the Western Theater, and we managed to quickly occupy Missouri despite the weather, and we've been able to keep the fighting down here in this lower left corner of Missouri by Pea Ridge and Carrollton and Fayetteville. So now, with those two units eliminated, that's a pretty good sized force that the computer has, in my opinion, thrown away. So let's go ahead and move over to the Central Theater. I'm just going to reinforce General Halleck's forces, get them ready for advancing onto the fort here. So let me get my gunboats out of harm's way so they can repair. Oh. Get these guys down the river. Open up those ports so the damaged units can move into them. Alright. So yeah, unfortunately things are probably going to be a little quiet here in the Central Theater. Alright. Move him onto that road. See, I'm thinking of moving Buckeye Nick's division into this hex right here, so that way he's ready to attack the fort next turn. So since I was able to bring the corps down here, I'll move that brigade a little bit closer. Next turn they'll have enough movement. Hopefully they can go ahead and move up into this hex, and I'll use these two units hopefully to take out Fort Henry. At least that's the plan. And then hopefully the rest of these units, they'll either have to stand off at Dresden, or maybe I can use them to help out Halleck's forces to take out that fort. Alright. So now over here, General Pope's Army of the Cumberland. These guys have seen some fighting. Alright, so let's get Judy Kim's division back up to the front. It's not a great defensive position, but I'm going to bring everybody else up to help. Except for 15th Wisconsin, we're going to reinforce them. And I'm going to leave Prieschlock Division in Glasgow just in case, because I have a feeling there's a cavalry division here, and they may make a run for Columbia. Because, I mean, I know I got two cavalry divisions here, but I do believe there is a third one. Alright, so that's going to take care of the center there. Now moving on to General McClellan's Army of the Ohio. Can they get this guy? Almost. Almost. Alright, finally, Northern Virginia. I'd like to take my hex back here, my little salient hex. But that brigade is actually a bigger threat because they have been upgraded. So go ahead and see if I can't pound him a little bit. Maybe even knock him out. Alright, I'm going to have to reinforce the Ozark Mountain Division. 5 strength, I don't want them back up on the line. Unfortunately, he retreated to here, so it would not be a good idea to chase him down. Alright, so even though I could advance into this hex, I'm going to take the opportunity to reinforce these couple of guys up here on this end of the defensive line. Let's see if we can get wood. No. We'll isolate Woodstock a little bit more. Try and plug that hole I've got in between General McDowell's and General Banks's armies. But I'll go ahead and I'll reinforce the Cavalry Division and the Sierra Madre Division, and then hopefully next turn we'll be able to take Woodstock. That'll go a long way to helping with both campaigns, actually. Both moving down the Shenandoah and pushing on to Fredericksburg. Alright, so now in Tidewater, go ahead and keep pressure on Williamsburg. And I already moved these guys, so I think that's going to do it. Yep, that's going to do it for operational and combat movements. So having a look at research. Now I got 150 points available, but I'm going to save that. Probably going to have a couple of breakthroughs. Industrial technology, field telegraph might break through ironclads next turn. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to get started R&D on heavy mortars for the artillery. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to save that 150 for now. So that brings us over to ordering up a couple more divisions. Certainly can use them. Okay, so who's next on the list? Oh, yes. So there's a another YouTuber friend, Shaffy Taffy. I first saw her YouTube watching racing videos, but now she has shifted over into co-op games, a lot of the jump scare style games, fun stuff. These guys are absolutely hilarious to watch, her, Jakenstein, and the rest of the guys. So if you get a chance, give them a look-see. Alright, enough with the shameless plug. Purchase of the division. Oh, we got enough money for another one. So who is next on the list? The Maria Rodriguez division. Alright, so what do we got? We got enough left for a river ironclad. I just lost one, so let's go ahead and buy one to replace it. And that's only going to leave 106. So gunboats and river gunboats are next to useless in combat. So not going to spend any money on them. I'll save it. We'll bank that. Alright, so that is going to do it for this turn. Let's go ahead and advance the turn and see what we get. California column defeats the Apaches at the Battle of Apache Pass. There we go. So Fort Bowie is occupied, and the California column finally arrives in the New Mexico territories. Awesome. Those 2 frigates are on their way to Key West. Bushwhackers. It pains me that I can't do anything about them. Now Bushwhackers in Kentucky. Apaches flee into the New Mexico hills after the occupation of Fort Bowie. Union develops industrial technology level 2. I didn't get those other ones I thought I was going to get. Okay, so there's our ledger for next turn. And the computer is calculating supply for the upcoming Confederate turn. Alright, what do we want to get? Computer's been taking it easy on me this whole game. I gotta wonder if it's not planning something big. Okay, so we got another. So we have 3 regiments now, or 3 divisions out here in the Western Theater. And I do not have any divisions in the Western Theater. Not good. There's one of those river timberclads. Oh, he's stuck there. Good. Maybe I can knock him out next turn. Good idea. Definitely want to retreat from that attack. I think they were looking to wipe him out. Alright, Fort Gibson hangs on. Can Fort Thorn hang on? I think so. These guys are low on supplies, so their attack would not be all that tough. Oh, they weren't expecting him to be there. Poor scouting on the part of the Confederacy. That's unusual. Alright, so they're moving back from the front line. No, not a lot of fighting. Well, that's good, because that means I'll be able to throw my forces into it. Alright, French troops and Mexican conservatives occupied this town here, whose name I'm not going to attempt to butcher. Tehuantepec. Possibly. Bushwhackers. And our blockade report. Okay, so here's our activity summary for last turn. So we're doing more with blocking the convoy routes, happily. Intelligence spots a brigade in Pensacola, and the Stephen 1323 division is now able to come out. Alright, this is rough. Far west, or not far west, but Western Theater, Center Theater, or here in Northern Virginia. We're certainly holding our own in Northern Virginia, but that's not good enough. We need to be advancing. And things are getting a little dicey over here in the Western, but the Central Theater and the Eastern Theater are the most important, so we'll go ahead and deploy Stephen's division here in Cairo so that he can go ahead and he can help out General Grant's army. Alright, so let's go and handle naval forces first. Get those gunboats onto the transfer point to the Mississippi. Upgrade the frigates' engines before sending them out. And this gunboat can head on down here to Outer Banks in order to help out with the Atlantic coast blockade. Meanwhile, bring these guys in to get repairs. Just resupply the monitors. So So they should be good on supply. Yep, because they just got their last turn. Sabine is still good. Colorado's okay. Wabash just resupplied, so back out she goes. Minnesota can come in for resupply. Powhatan's resupplied, so get her back online. Water Witch is resupplied. Alright, let's go ahead and see. I didn't think he'd be able to do any damage, as damaged as he already is. But the Ottawa was able to follow up. Go ahead and head all the way up the river. And then bring these two in for repairs. Alright, that's going to do it for Naval Forces. Head on out here to the Far West Theater. I'm stoked now, because General Carrollton's forces have shown up. Now I'm hoping that there's nobody in Divaca. Nope, good. So bring the California column up. Take the Chino mines back. And threaten to cut this guy off. So can we get anything here? Well, I can. Now he's low on supply, so I really don't want to push him out there. So let's do this. And so hopefully they'll go ahead and pull this cavalry brigade out of Santa Rao in order to keep him from getting cut off. Unfortunately, the computer has a bad habit of not doing that. So they're probably going to wind up staying there, but that's alright, because that means I get to surround them and wipe them out. Reinforce that brigade. Nothing I can do with these guys. I'd like to reinforce him, so... Alright. Where can I send him to reinforce? Man, Riley's Rangers got hurt. I can only resupply them 1 point. This is not looking good over here. Alright, let's break contact. Try and reinforce who I can before re-engaging. Cover that flank. Reinforce that brigade. So they're still good at the moment. Go back to blocking that crossroad. Nope, we're not going to advance. Let them do the advancing in this rough terrain. I need to get him someplace. There we go. Good, I can force march him. Okay, good, because now with him that close to Freeman, I should be able to reinforce him. Alright, so that is going to do it for the Far West Theater. I think I forgot to bring him down last turn. Alright, so let's see what we can do over here in the center theater. Repair my gunboats before I forget. And the last one. There we go. Alright, can he do any damage? No. Alright, so let's go ahead and see if we can't take out Fort Henry. Can he move up? Yes, he can. Okay. So we'll use Buckeye Nick's division first. Alright, he was able to do 3 points. Awesome. Alright, so between the two of them, they were able to take out Fort Henry. Now, let me get him out of there. Unfortunately, I can't retreat. Buckeye Nick. Let's advance the core. So he's got 4 on him. You know what? Let's go ahead and attack. Because I can bring across units from across the river to help. See if we can't knock him out. Awesome. We got him to retreat. That's good. So I'll let the cavalry take Hickam. That way the brigade can move up, and now I've got more forces in position to go after this fort here. All right. Oh, went too far. I want him there. I want these guys blocking the road here. All right. All right, so General Pope's forces are going to get back into... Far S Division got hit hard. It's a good thing they retreated. So let's go ahead and try and get a little payback. 2 to 4, 2 to 4. Yeah, let's go ahead and use Dino Division first. And then attack with Judah. Alright, so now what I can do... have the cavalry finish off. Or not. They didn't do any damage at all. Okay. Plan B. Got him. Alright. So let's reinforce Far S while they're back there. Do I want to move... So I'm thinking I want to move Pope up. I mean, I don't have to. All of his units are still in range, but they won't be if I start advancing towards Springfield and Carthage. But I'm still concerned about cavalry or flanking maneuver from any units from Albany up towards Columbia. So let's do that. So even though that kind of leaves the artillery exposed, I still got zone of control here to kind of prevent. And then they've got to get across the river as well, so that should do. All right, so that's going to do it for Central Theater. Now we're back over here to the Army of the Ohio. All right. If nothing else, we're preventing any advances along this way, and these guys are getting XP. Alright, so now Northern Virginia, let's go ahead and reinforce that brigade. Let's go ahead and do some damage to this brigade. Oh, he can't get in that hex. Nuts. That throws my entire plan off. Can anybody get there? No. Unless I force march him. I'm going to have to. I got to protect the artillery. Moving the Video Toaster Division into this hex and then attacking would have done damage to him. He would have been down to about half strength, and he would have been sitting duck for the other Confederate divisions. Alright, so let me go ahead and reinforce these guys. And I'm going to push out from Warrenton. Move the line up a little bit. Alright, so let's see if we can take Woodstock. Or if nothing else, push him out of that hex. Alright, 1 to 2. We've already got him down to half strength. Alright, occupied. Move the cavalry up. And actually, I want to move him back to plug that hole. That means I can move McDowell up. Awesome. Okay, so there was a That was a big victory in my opinion. Did I move him? No, I have not moved him. Alright, so let's just try and cause some general mayhem. Alright, I think that's going to about do it, except we're going to try and get Port Plymouth. Yep, there we go. And now something to guarantee a response from the computer. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, yep. Within 4 hexes of Richmond. That's going to guarantee some kind of a response. I'm trying to draw off forces up here. Move up and take those crossroads. Alright, I think that is going to do it for this turn. Let's have a look at research. Let's go ahead and get my heavy mortars going. That maxes out research. And now we got, do we have enough to purchase a division? Yes, we do. Alright, so who is next on the list? Sorters Division. And even though I've got enough for another frigate, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go ahead and bank the 213 we got left. All right, so that is going to be it for this episode. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you made it this far, please leave a like. Go ahead and drop a comment because it helps expand the channel. If there's somebody out there that you think will enjoy this kind of content, please share this video with them. Let them know we're out here. And something I've always been forgetting to mention, if you are subscribed, please don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know when I upload a new video. All right, thanks again, and we will see you on the next one.